How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. We promised an Allen Robinson video yesterday, but this Russell Wilson stuff continues to heat up. So today, in episode number 224 of Uncut, we are going to be discussing the news that is out that the Bears are prioritizing getting a deal done for Russell Wilson this offseason, and we are also discussing what the Bears are willing to offer to make this deal, as there are some rumors out that other teams have fought at the Seattle asking price, but the Bears have not. They are willing to make the deal, and they are willing to make the steep price. So we're going to discuss what that price could be. Welcome back to the show, guys. Russell Wilson continues to heat up. Seems like the Bears are definitely in on this. But today, to discuss it, I am your host, Chris Malpe. I am joined by to the right of me, by my co-host Jaylen McClinton. Jaylen, how you doing? Happy Friday. What's going on, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm having a bad hair days. Probably that's why I have on a hat. But it's Friday.
Hey, at least we have a bowl in the All-Star game this year. It's not a bad hat to wear.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I can't wait. This Russell Wilson stuff is starting to get me excited. The news is coming out I feel like every other hour, and it's just crazy. But I don't want to get too excited because obviously it's nowhere near close to a deal.
I don't think we can really actually get excited and hope that it'll happen until there's a sort of thing that Seattle is willing to trade him.
Yeah, Ryan Pace is aggressive, man. I didn't think we were going to get Khalil Mack. I didn't even know we were in the running until, we actually traded for him. So, who knows? But, that's just what I've been on, doing homework and watching Bulls games, I guess.
How's it going, everybody? Manscaped hooked me up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit. I know we all have stories of trying to shave down there and perhaps nicking ourselves and bleeding, and it's not very fun, but not to worry with Manscaped. Manscaped has created the best ball hair trimmer ever, the Lawnmower 3.0. Their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel confident shaving my boys. In addition, this trimmer comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. And don't use the same trimmer you use on your face as your balls. That's just nasty. The Lawnmower 3.0 comes inside their brand new Perfect Package 3.0, which comes with everything you need to keep trimmed, cut-free, and smelling nice down there. The Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0 also includes the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? And yes, your balls stink. Speaking of which, I am also thankful for their Crop Reviver. This product, along with the Crop Preserver, keeps your balls from sweating, smelling, and sticking. Manscaped also threw in 2 free gifts into their Perfect Package, one being a pair of high-performance Manscaped boxer briefs that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day, and a travel shed bag to store all of your grooming goodies. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BD20 at manscaped.com. You'll see it on the screen right now. Your balls will thank you. Once again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code BD20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Now let's get back into the video.
All right, well, let's hop right into this. Just a little bit of news before we get into it. Obviously, first and foremost, the most important one, why we're here today, was an update from Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune. Biggs said that the Chicago Bears are prioritizing making a run at Russell Wilson this offseason. I don't know why I have trouble with the name. A run at Russell Wilson this offseason. That's their number one priority, is getting a deal done for Russ. And, I mean, look, buckle up, folks. Ryan Pace is looking to make another big splash this offseason. I think that's a deal that everyone would be fine with. The compensation is going to be interesting. But this finally comes to center that the Bears are focusing on him, and that is that. Now, the Bears blog, Jeff Hughes, someone who's pretty relevant in the Bears community, he's hit on some stuff before. He's missed on some stuff before. He had a lot to say about this. He put out about a 2-minute video talking about there actually being chatter in this situation. If you look at the Deshaun Watson situation, obviously the Bears are probably still in on that and were in on that. But that's kind of at a Cold War, a standstill type place because Houston can't actually get involved or get themselves to buy into the fact that he doesn't want to be in Houston. With Russell Wilson, there's talks, there's legitimate reports that the Bears are in on it. There is chatter. So he said earlier today in his video, I will tell you that I'm almost 50-50 or better that Russell Wilson may be the starting quarterback for the Bears in September. Other teams have bought at the asking price, trying to negotiate and stuff like that, but the Bears have not. They are willing to make the deal. They are willing to pay the steep price. I'm going to put a link to that video down in the description, but that is absolutely huge. Jaylen, I want to start with the Bears prioritizing Russ this offseason. Obviously, there's been reports out that he wants to be in Chicago. He likes the emerging offensive line that made David Montgomery a top 5 running back in the league last year. He actually wants to work with Matt Nagy. So first and foremost, we didn't really cover it yesterday, but what do you think about these reasons why Russell Wilson wants to come to Chicago? Do you believe that Matt Nagy can turn Russell Wilson and the Bears into playoff contenders if this deal were to happen? And do you think that we can continue to see some more improvement from the Bears' offensive line?
No, I don't think it would be Matt Nagy turning us into a playoff contender. I guess, let me just speak on this. I guess that's one of the reasons why he wants to come here. I know personally, not me, but I know a lot of Bears fans, wanted Matt Nagy fired, wanted him, Ryan Pace fired because of their inability to give us a reliable offense, to give us a consistent quarterback play, and make us, have a deep run into the playoffs. But I guess other NFL, executives and players like that see Matt Nagy.
It seems like in NFL circles, Matt Nagy has a lot more respect than Bears fans
give him credit for. A lot more respect
than
he's getting in Chicago.
And I've got to give you credit, Jaylen. You've been someone for months and months now who has said, don't fire Nagy, don't fire Pace until after 2021. So if they could pull off this deal and could turn back into winners, you called it spot on, saying that they should get another year. But what do you think about Russ's thoughts about the offensive line? Because there's a lot of Bears fans bashing it, but personally, when I look at it, it's intriguing to me because obviously, we see Sam Mustipher, we see Alex Bars come in last year, and when they continue to get more reps, when they got more comfortable, they actually started playing well, and we saw David Montgomery take off in the second half of the season last year. Also worth noting that Russell Wilson hasn't had a great offensive line throughout his career. He's created plays by avoiding sacks. So what do you think about his comments about the offensive line? His thoughts about the offensive line, reportedly.
Shout out to Griff because he actually this is actually what I was thinking when I seen that comment. It was where basically he was a fan of our offensive line and Matt Nagy. I was like, is he talking about the Chicago Bears? A lot of people said that was one of our main holes was the coaching and the offensive line coming into last year. So to see that he was a big fan of it, or a fan of wanting to actually play with these type of guys, shows you one, like I said, Matt Nagy has a way better outlook, to the rest of the NFL than something Bears fans does, and how we were able to, have solid, offensive line play at the end of the year. And we were doing that without our best offensive line.
James Daniels.
Yep. James Daniels. I think James Daniels is like 23 years old. He's coming up on a contract extension that he definitely deserves, and so we were doing that without.
Too, Cody Whitehair had COVID in the middle of the season, and that kind of
we were doing that without him.
Off. Yeah,
imagine with James Daniels back, I think we finally found a good center in Sam Mustipher. He was undrafted, so definitely a good job by Ryan Pace finding an undrafted guy like Sam Mustipher to come in and give us really solid offensive line play. I definitely think that pushes Cody Whitehair back to the guard position where we originally drafted him to do, and he was very solid when he was.
And that probably just leaves the Bears with worrying about tackles this offseason.
Yeah, the tackles. So and with Russell Wilson being a very athletic quarterback, he's done it with terrible offensive linemen still being able to evade sacks. I think obviously quarterbacks are going to take sacks, but as long as he's not getting hit 50 times in 2 seasons or in 1 season, I think that's all he cares about. So definitely a word of encouragement. It made me look back into the season because I keep forgetting the Bears made the playoffs. The football season went by so fast, and I went back to thinking we actually did have some solid offensive line play. And people might say Matt Nagy is a decent head coach because we made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years with Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles as our quarterbacks. So it was definitely different, but at the same time very exciting to see that a Hall of Fame quarterback like him. Likes our the situation we're in right now, when a whole lot of Bears fans, doesn't.
Yeah, and Jeremy Fowler of ESPN yesterday was on SportsCenter saying that he wants to bring up a historical franchise. That's something that Russell Wilson desires, and that he could do that in Chicago. So that's definitely interesting. But yeah, I like that you bring up Nick Foles. and Mitchell Trubisky because 16 and 16 in the last 2 seasons with them. If I'm Russell Wilson and I'm looking into this stuff, which I've heard that he is, like keeping an eye on the rumors and stuff like that, he's probably thinking, hey, Mitchell Trubisky with Matt Nagy went 25 and 13. What do you think I could do with that guy?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something interesting. But I want to move on to another topic now. Obviously, the pretty big update this morning from Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune talking about the Bears prioritizing Russ this offseason. Number one priority before anything else, before Allen Robinson, before anything, is going to be hopefully getting a deal done for Russell Wilson. So, Jaylen, I'll ask you, I mean, obviously, we see the Deshaun Watson stuff. We see that the Bears are at 20 and could possibly trade up to the top 10 to get a Zach Wilson, a Justin Fields if they wanted to. Do you think they're going the right route here with Russell Wilson wanting to come to Chicago? The picks really don't matter. Do you think they are prioritizing the number one thing right now? We see Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace being on a little bit of a hot seat. So do you think them coming into the offseason after everything that's happened with this plan of trying to get Russell Wilson to Chicago, do you think that's the right way they should approach this?
Definitely. Some people might say it's unrealistic, but they're on the
My goodness gracious, it's much more. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's so much more realistic than it was a week ago when his list came out, I must say.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're on the hot seat. You know, obviously, if we were a worse team, they might not even be here. But at the same time, we'll be in a good position to draft one of those top 5 quarterbacks without having to trade up. But we made the playoffs last year. We're still disappointed because we went 1-0. We only scored 9 points in the playoff game, but they got another opportunity to be the head coach and GM of this team. You know, this is Ryan Pace. I want to say 6th year or 7th year as our GM. He's on his 2nd head coach, and since he's been here, he's only made the playoffs twice. And so I don't think he has much longer to be the GM, especially since his contract expires after next year. So. He's gonna be very aggressive. We all know Ryan Pace. You know, he gets what he wants, or he tries to get what he wants, no matter what it takes. So I'm not surprised that we're prioritizing a Hall of Fame quarterback that wants to come to this team. First, especially because Russell Wilson made subpar talent into very reliable receivers. He made David Moore have like a 900-yard season and. Unless you're like a Seahawks fan or not a casual, I'm pretty sure you don't know who David Moore is. So
I don't. I do, but I wouldn't have before that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we could get by with the Darnell Mooney, maybe Anthony Miller at wide receiver, but I'm not surprised he's prioritizing Russell Wilson as the number one player or number one position coming to the offseason.
Yeah, and you would assume Miller and Mooney and those type of guys would be able to play to their full potential with Russell Wilson.
Especially Mooney. Mooney's a deep threat, and Russell Wilson,
will hit those throws. Yeah. And, in terms of the prioritizing Russell Wilson, I think it absolutely makes sense. We saw the Bears yesterday. A report came out that they're looking to restructure some of their bigger contracts this offseason. Guys like Khalil Mack once again. Kyle Fuller, someone that you could restructure and sign to a sweet little extension to be able to keep him around, which would be great. Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair. So with the lower cap hit now this offseason, it seems like the Bears are trying to clear up some cap space to be able to make this work out. And I think it absolutely makes sense, and it would really help Allen Robinson's situation. If you bring in Russell Wilson, I think that absolutely makes Allen Robinson want to stay and play another year, whether that be with an extension or with the franchise tag, easily the best quarterback that Robinson will be able to play with, maybe even throughout his career, depending on what happens in the future. Jaylen, let's talk a little bit about what the Bears would have to give up in order to get Russell Wilson. Obviously, Jeff Hughes this morning, the Bears blog, saying that other teams have bought and fought at the asking price, but the Bears have not. They're willing to make the deal. They are willing to pay the steep price, end quote. So I want to talk to you at this point with how realistic this seems like this could be, given with things boiling over in Seattle, and Seattle actually answering the calls and actually considering some of these offers. Do you think anything's off the table at this point, or do you think the Bears should give Seattle an empty check and say whatever picks and whatever players you want? If you're willing to do this, you've got it.
I would definitely feel like it's some players that's off,
preferably off the table.
Yeah, off the table. Like I said, I talked about this in yesterday's video. Obviously, I want to keep Khalil Mack, Hall of Fame player, one of the best pass rushers in the league. His sack numbers might not be there. He only had like 9 sacks this season, but his impact is there. He's getting double team, triple team. The rest of the NFL knows Khalil Mack is a scary person to try to block. So obviously him. Preferably, I would want to keep Roquan Smith around. I think he's a defensive player of the year type player. He's still very underrated, but the numbers he's put up ever since he's been here, he's been one of our best defensive players on the team. And then obviously I want a couple more players type here, but those are debatable. I will also want to keep David Montgomery. But if the Seahawks ask for David and 3 first-round picks, I'm giving it to him. But
I was going to say, I feel like if it came to a certain player and a couple first-round picks and it was just reliant on that player, I think you pull the trigger no matter what.
Yeah, but obviously nothing is off the table. But I definitely feel like it's a couple players that Pace is going to be reliant to. Here you go, take him in 4 first-round picks. So, but other than that, no. And everybody's on the table. Like I said, obviously I want to keep a couple players here and there I feel like could excel. With Russell Wilson on the offensive side of the ball, like I said, like a David, especially like a Darnell Mooney, but everybody else. For Russell Wilson, I'm giving you him in more.
Yeah, I got to go ahead and agree with you. I think there's some players I would prefer to keep, but at the end of the day, if it came down to a certain player, a certain name, I think you got to pull the trigger, as I mentioned earlier. Give them an open checkbook and say, write whatever you want. I think it's interesting, though, Jaylen, before we close this one off, because they're listening to calls. Seattle is listening to calls.
Yeah.
And I don't think you listen to calls. I put this up on my Instagram story earlier today. I don't think you'll listen to calls unless you're legitimately considering trading this player. And Shannon Sharp hit on it this morning on Undisputed when I was tuning in, and he said if Seattle didn't want to trade him, they wouldn't be answering the phone. So do you think because Seattle is listening in, because they're answering these calls, that they're actually willing to go through if there's an offer that's irresistible for Russell Wilson?
You have to. At this point, especially if he doesn't want to play there, I know this is like a whole different type of it's a whole different sport, whole different type of player. But look at the James Harden situation. At first, the Houston Rockets, they didn't want to trade him until they had no choice. He said, "I don't want to be here." This basically said the team sucks, and they finally traded.
He literally
him,
said the team sucks. He quite literally said the team sucks.
Yeah. So and then at that point, okay, we have to trade him. He's going to be a cancer in the locker room. So I don't think Russell Wilson is ever going to say, "I don't want to play for this team because the team around me sucks." I just don't think he's that type of player. But he already said he doesn't want to play here. They're getting frustrated about how stuff is coming public and how he's handling the situation. So I feel like it's only going to be a matter of time before him or maybe a Deshaun Watson who he said I'm not going to ever play another snap for the Houston Texans again before they they get traded. So I know it's going to be hard trading your a quarterback that led you to a Super Bowl ring. The quarterback is one of the most hardest positions in the NFL. It's hard to come back consistent talent, especially like him. Every year. So I know it's going to be hard, but like I say, if he says I don't want to be here, you have to listen to him because you're going to get a lot for him.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see how this all sprawls out. I feel like it's got to be 50-50 or maybe even something a little bit in the Bears' favor at this point, that he gets traded, not essentially to Chicago, but to somewhere else. I think the odds are at 50-50 or a little bit better, but we'll see how it sprawls out. And we're going to keep you guys posted here. So whatever platform you're listening on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, do us a favor, follow and subscribe for Bears content every day of the week. Things are definitely getting interesting now, so we're going to keep you guys posted with a video or podcast, at least one every day. We definitely want to get back to a point where we're double uploading every day to get you guys the most content on the internet. But if you would like more content from us, more Russell Wilson stuff, head over to our website, beardown.com. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs each and every day to keep you guys posted on the offseason news with Russell Wilson, with Allen Robinson, with the NFL draft. So be sure to head over to our website. If you would like to find us on social media, you can head over to @BearDown on Instagram and Twitter. That's where we do our giveaways. You can see what we're posting about early, and it's a great way to interact with us. And finally, you can find the links to all of our social media pages down in the description, myself as well as Jaylen, our Instagram and Twitters. Be sure to go drop us a follow on those platforms. You can see our thoughts on the entirety of the NFL, all of professional sports, all of Chicago sports. Definitely worth following and another great way to interact with us. Jalen McClinton, seems like this is not the first and not the last video we are going to make on this Russell Wilson situation. Things are going to continue to heat up. And we'll see what happens over there in Seattle. So any last words before we close this one out?
Bear down. Like I said, it's hard not to get get excited when
I've gotten way too excited in the past about all this stuff. I mean, you and I were making videos about Carson Wentz when it turned out to be a ton of smoke.
I wasn't excited about that. I just wanted to get some content out. I'm thankful he didn't get traded here. But, Russell Wilson, that's a different story. I'm actually kind of excited, but at the same time, I don't want to get too excited because, in 6 months, he's probably week one, he might be playing with the Seahawks, And then we're getting our excitement up for no reason while we have freaking Marcus Mariota at the quarterback position. So, I'm not gonna get too excited. I'm a little excited just because he said he wants to play here. Obviously.
It's also it's nice to see the Bears taking the right plan of action with this. We've seen them whiff in the past.
We want to be better.
The fact that they're being level-headed, approaching this head-on, I'm sure there's a lot of discussion happening, and Seattle's actually listening. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, so that's about it for me. Bear down, stay safe. All-Star weekend this week. Get to watch Zach LaVine play, so it's definitely going to be exciting for me.
Yeah, it should be an exciting weekend to see how these rumors and actual updates continue to spiral out of control. A lot going on in the basketball world as well, at least for Chicago fans. But I'm surely excited to make a ton of more content in the future. I think we're going to start getting back to making stuff consistently, and that's something I'm looking forward to because it's definitely a lot of fun, and this offseason could be a lot of fun depending on what happens with the Bears. But I think they're approaching it properly right now. So hopefully they can stay level-headed and continue to hopefully try and make this happen as it was reported this morning that they're prioritizing it. So it should be interesting to see how this continues to move forward. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again. It's been a pleasure to be your host. My name is Chris Malpe, and Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll be back with you guys this weekend covering some sort of Bears news. There's still a lot of important stuff going on within the players that are already on the team, but we'll definitely be back here covering the news for you guys, so be sure to check back on us, and that's pretty much it for us, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.